Well, surprise, my final thoughts on Downfall, Conquest of the Third Reich. And yes, I already hear you saying, you didn't finish the game. You didn't even get halfway through. What is this, a bad game or something? Hear me out, because I think this is a great game. So, then I'll tell you why I had to stop and whatnot. Let's go over what I like. I really like, first of all, the rules. These are very simple without dumbing down. It's the sweet spot between evocative complexity and playability. And so it's once you get it down, it runs very smooth. Especially, I like the combat. The combat are smooth, intuitive, and like I said, not dumbing down. It has the right amount of luck without sacrificing player control. As you would expect, the combat rewards, you can see that, anytime I wanted a real chance at a good, successful offensive, I had to bring in combined arms. I had to get armor, I had to get air support. That would help kind of lock in a successful assault. But I wasn't bound to that. I mean, if I was willing to be more reliant on the dice roll, I could do that. I could launch an attack without, say, air support, or even launch an assault in the muddy season. It's up to me. I always have player control. So, I don't mean to brag on Euro games. I enjoy them. But there's been a number of occasions where I thought the game was playing me. And, I think I'm not going to name any names, but there's one game in particular I can think of where I sat there and said, well, if I go to the bathroom and I ask someone else to play my turn, I'd come back and he would have played it exactly as I would have. Okay. But here, there's just a lot of flexibility in balancing luck and the hard choices. One of the things I did like, it's a little more controversial though, is the enemy zones of control. And this made it a lot simpler by using the hex spines to prevent anyone from moving. Made it a lot easier to surround someone, or I guess technically surround them, or pin them, I guess is what you would call it, and then really pound them. I suppose that's controversial because we're so used to the idea that it's just, the hex around there. And you basically had to get a lot of units around to truly surround a unit. And you can keep supplying a unit. But this is a rule I liked. I can see how somebody used to the old, kind of the traditional zones of control would not like it. But I enjoy it. I think it, like I said, I get back to those hard choices. There's a lot of those in here. And so, when you get surrounded, you have the hard choice. Do I try to save him? Do I, sacrifice him for the sake of a stable front? Going over to the initiative system way up here. Let's see, I can't get it in there. One of the hard choices is, okay, do I take a really effective order but lose the initiative? Or do I take kind of a lesser one and keep it so that I can get in more actions? So here I am singing the game's praises. So why am I not finishing it? To put it shortly, my eyes were bigger than my stomach. When I first saw this game coming up, what attracted me was the gimmick. Gimmick sounds insulting. It's not. I call it the hook. The hook. The hook is, here's the Soviets, and me as the Westerns use the Germans over in the East against him, and vice versa. When it's the Soviets' turn, they use the Western Germans to fight the Westerners. And I thought that was really neat. And I thought it was so neat, I just had to try this game. And in doing that, I overlooked, I kind of willfully overlooked the 12-hour, if you go by the box, or the 18-hour, if you go by the rule book, playtime that it takes to finish this. Realistically, if you're using the campaign, that is. And Yeah, this game is huge. Now, when I say huge, well, the footprint of this, it takes up 2 folding tables. It's not crazy, especially for a war game. It's kind of big as far as footprint, but I mean, in terms of just the time for what it is, it's a huge time investment. And as a solo player, I'm controlling 4 factions over 8 very long turns. Now let me be clear. I don't regret buying this. It was wonderful to try this out, and who knows, I might try it again. But a whole campaign is just too much. And maybe if you did, say I did the Overlord scenario, which starts on turn 5, so it's 5, 6, 7, 8 turns after that to finish. That seems a little bit more manageable, but that's still really huge. Where's the box? Here, let me find the box. Yeah, here we go. And yeah, okay, players 2 doesn't even bill it as 1 to 2. I mean, why would it? Age 14, yeah, sure, why not? 6 to 12. So if I was playing the, I guess that's for like the Overlord scenario. It's still going to take you 6 hours. That is still a really long time. Complexity 5, yeah, if you're an experienced wargamer, yeah, that's about right. Might be a little higher for someone a little less familiar with it. And here we go. Solitaire compatibility. It started at a 4. Now, normally, I would not touch a GMT game that willingly showed me a suitability of 4. I always make the joke that whatever GMT says the solitaire suitability is, always subtract 2, at least 2, and to get the real number. So if I had seen the 4, and I'd be, it's actually 2, guys. And in a sense, I had no business touching this if my full intent was to play it solitaire. That I would say is if you're doing the Overlord scenario, you're starting to approach the 4 thing. But that's where I'm at. And I'm not necessarily opposed to a solo game that's really huge as far as time investment. You may remember I did Pericles, the Peloponnesian War, which it's a 10-turn, and those turns are substantial. And so that took a very long time to finish. I recorded the whole thing and made it all the way through. But you got to remember, that's like one of my favorite games ever, about my favorite historical political subject ever. And even then, about halfway through, I was really feeling the weight, like, gosh, I'm just never going to finish shooting this and never going to finish playing it. And, I'm not a huge World War II fan. I would say I'm a medium fan. I mean, I grew up with it, just knowing it so much. But when I go to board games, I'm usually looking for something a little more unusual than World War II. I mean, I sometimes make the joke that, war games are World War II, Civil War, and then category 3, everything else. and people jump on me for that, but it's a joke. It's a joke. Come on. So there it is. I'm packing it in. It's, at the rate I'm going, it would take me a year to finish this thing. And I want something else on the table, quite frankly. So final verdict is fantastic game. Well designed. Solo, yeah, I'm sorry. I think you got to move on unless there's something very specific in here that you're after. Yeah, I can't really recommend it as a solo game. But, everyone who stuck with it, I guess I apologize if you were hoping to see the whole kit and caboodle. But, it is what it is. Hey, thanks for watching anyway. I'll see you soon.